welcome to Inside Abode, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? It is summer here in the Pacific Northwest, and we have another really good episode that I think you're going to be interested in. But before I get to my guest and introduce my guest, I want to invite you to subscribe to the podcast. I say this every single time. Actually, you know what I should do? I should actually have a recording and just put it at the beginning because I say, but I really do think the recording is kind of whack because like you don't get to see. I say it differently every time, somehow, some way. But anyway, subscribe. We try to drop every week. We're in season 10 now. I took a little break, and now we're back, and we have some really good episodes for you. We have some great people lined up for you and great topics. So with that, subscribe. All right, for my guest today, let's get straight to it. My guest today is one half of the Knicely Group, which was formed in 2019. My guest has been selling real estate and been licensed for almost 15 years. That was a trip when I heard that when we were on the thing. And then she also is a Windermere luxury advisor. And she's, like I did say, one half of the Knicely Group, but also she wasn't one half of the Knicely Group when she joined Windermere Abode as an OG Abode member. She is we have an Abode OG with us who opened this office. Jessica Knicely, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you so much. Yes, whenever I say I've been selling real estate for 15 years, it's hard for me to believe I've even been doing something for that long. And then I'm like, yeah, and that's, that's my age. That's where I'm at. Okay. All right. But I'm loving it.
You still got plenty. You got plenty of time. You're not
Yes,
even there yet, but
that's right.
we're in that phase. I say I'm in a whole different phase. I'm looking at staring at 50. So like, and here's how I like to think of it though. My 55-year-old self is looking at my 45-year-old self telling me to be quiet, shut up. Like you're fine.
Yep.
You're in good shape. You're good. Like whatever. So that's how I like to think of it, or else I'll just, it's all bad.
Yeah.
Because my
I love
kids
it.
remind
It's great
me.
perspective.
Yeah, my kids remind me all the time. Don't worry. Especially when Reagan gets older. Like, by the way, Reagan was the first Abode baby too.
She
That was the first one.
and
Yeah.
she's about to be 5 in September.
Wow.
I know.
See, that right there is crazy to me. That's a
Yes,
trip.
kids definitely are a timestamp, They keep you in check on how much, I mean, wow.
Yeah, she's cute. So how's your summer been so far? What have you been up to? What have you and Ryan been up to?
Well, a lot of it has been swim lessons, gymnastics, all those fun things with Reagan. But no, I mean, the weather's been so amazing, and we've been just trying to be outside as much as possible, enjoying that because there's no better place to be in the summer than in Washington. Like Pacific Northwest summers are just incredible. So we've been outside as much as possible, trying to spend family time, and then work has been keeping us busy. So
Yeah.
that's been amazing. We're not complaining about that. And we're just having a great
Yeah.
summer. How about you?
Yeah, y'all are cranking. Oh, it's been good for me.
Yeah.
We're busy, like it's getting a little sorry, it's getting a little loud in here, but yeah, we're busy. You guys are keeping us busy. If you're busy, that means that we're busy. And I think that we expected the market to pick up at this time of year. It does most times of the year, but I think that at least in our office, it's been really productive and it's been really good and fun to see. And hopefully we want to make sure that we're serving our clients at the highest level, and that's just what we stick to and what we're
Right.
But in other news, family wise and all that kind of stuff, yeah, same thing. Just running Taylor around swim practice. He's on a couple teams. So he's swimming every day. He's got tennis practice this week. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
He wants to play tennis. He's never played tennis before, so we sent him to a camp with his friend, and they're playing. And in his freshman year, he'll be going into school as a freshman. So also we had a graduate.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of transition. There's just a lot going. This era of
Yeah.
life. So like y'all are in a era of life where you have a 5-year-old, and we're like on the opposite end of that spectrum. Like what you think about is, and it goes so fast. Yeah. So I don't know. We just had a graduate, and then we have our second one moving into high school. So transitioning, it's a lot of transition in the Jones household right now. So it's a time.
Yeah, no
It's a moment.
kidding. One out
Yeah.
of high school and one coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just the kids, and then you got your own self. I'm staring at 50.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be real. Like, that's hard for a guy. Like that's hard. It's hard for a brother. So yeah, like I wanted to talk. So, and y'all moved. So you were selling. Did you do a majority of your business in Tacoma, Gig Harbor area? Like, has that always been where your business is, or when you moved out to Gig Harbor, did you feel like you do more business out there than in Tacoma, or a little bit of both?
No, I feel like it's still pretty even from what we were doing before too. I've always, even though I was living in North Tacoma prior to moving back to Gig Harbor, I grew up here, so
Mm.
I've always sold in this area. And then my first office was actually in Silverdale, which is Kitsap
Oh.
County. So I'm familiar with the Port Orchard, even Bremerton. So Gig Harbor feels very natural to me. But then
Hmm.
Tacoma's been a big part of my life too, because although I grew up in Gig Harbor, I went to high school in Tacoma. So
Oh. Okay.
yes.
Yeah. So
So
you've seen it all. But and
yes.
like you grew up in Gig Harbor, and we were talking about growing up in Gig Harbor, and
Hmm.
um, it's interesting because when I go out there now, and this is just me, just I get treated like I'm an outsider, and I'm looking at all the people like, well, actually, I was here before your house even existed, so this
That's right.
neighborhood didn't even exist. So
Hmm.
I'm actually the person coming back to where my
Yeah.
stomping grounds were. But like, have you noticed what's been the biggest notice for you in Gig Harbor from when you grew up there to now?
Well, it's changed so much, you know. First of all, it's a lot busier than what it used to be, but it
Yeah.
used to be a little bit more of a sleepier town. It was a
Mm-hmm.
small
Mm-hmm.
community. There really, whenever you needed to go to a larger store, you were going to Tacoma typically
Yep.
because that was the closest location. But then over the last, 20, 25 years, I would say, maybe 30 years, um, we started getting stores like Target and Costco, and
Yeah.
now we have YMCA and we have even a Kohl's. I mean, we have all of these things now that are
Yep.
all of the conveniences at our fingertips that we don't have to really travel very far for any longer. So that's
Yeah.
the biggest change with Gig Harbor. And then with that comes, a little more traffic, a little more uh, just busyness, it feels like, on the roads,
Uh-oh.
and a lot of people and a lot of housing. So if you saw what Gig Harbor North looked like 20 years or 30 years ago, it's an entirely different place now. That's where the Target and the Costco
Mm.
and a lot of the newer housing developments have gone. So, and I know you know that location well. So it's a totally different area. Before there was Cannerwood, kind of off that
Mm-hmm.
Burnham exit,
Yep.
and
That was it.
other neighborhoods, smaller neighborhoods, but that was pretty much it.
You know what that was back there, like where Costco and all that is back there? That we called that, so behind Woodridge right there, we called it the logging trails. So like you'd go back to the back of that development, and there was a place where you could go in the trails, and we would go
Yeah.
back there, and then you'd go all the way back, and we called it the pit, because it would just like open up to this big pit, like huge, or at least to us at that, like we're young, we're
Yes.
elementary age, middle school age, and it was like this big old pit, and you had to like get off your bike and like literally like slide down this big old long pit, like if you could imagine like going looking at a big old dirt pit, like it just opens up,
Yeah.
and that's what it used to be back there. Like it was nothing, it was a whole bunch of nothing. And so now it's Costco and the Y and all this other
Hmm.
stuff. So houses,
A little
development.
different now.
Oh, just a little bit. It's not the
Yeah.
logging trails anymore. But yeah, we used to go
No.
back there. We were talking about we used to ride our bikes. I used to butt board down Peacock Hill. Like we used to. like butt board, like get on a skateboard, get on your butt, and like
Yeah.
literally butt board down the
That
Peacock.
is a steep hill. That's a little
Yeah,
scary.
yeah. Oh, we used to
Yeah.
run around that place. We used to run amok around there, like because we were coming from Tacoma. Like we did that in Tacoma. We
Hmm.
were just walking around. Just that's how we
Yeah.
had got around, and so bikes and walking, and so we got to Gig Harbor. We're like, man, this is dope. There's no one out here, so like we were just like running
Yeah.
all the way through town
That's so
all the
fun to
time.
have those memories though.
Yeah.
You know,
So a lot
that's
of good memories growing up out in Gig
that's
Harbor.
feels like that's how it started, and
Um,
now Gig Harbor is a whole thing on its own.
yeah, yeah, it really is. I could go on and on about stories and whatnot, but what I wanted to get you on to talk about is the luxury market, and is the luxury market still a thing, or is it still moving? And you're selling in Gig Harbor and Tacoma and in Kitsap, so like you have a good idea of what it's looked like in the trajectory over 15 years. But before we even start talking about the luxury market, like how do you even define luxury in Pierce County and more specifically in Tacoma and Gig Harbor?
Yeah, that's a really great question because I think most people think of luxury as just like a certain price point where maybe around here people are thinking, okay, anything over $1 million might be considered like luxury. But luxury is more than just the price point. You know, I think it has a lot to do with like unique aesthetic and style and also
Mm,
lifestyle. And then not just that, but the actual like quality
mm,
condition of the home. You know, when we're looking at luxury properties or I'm working with buyers who are looking at luxury properties, a lot of times they want homes that are like dialed in, turnkey, and
right.
pristine.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, luxury is more about like, has it been meticulously maintained? What does the landscaping look like? What kind of lifestyle does it provide? All of those
Mm.
things.
Yeah, that's a good answer because like I like the how you said it's not about the price because as we know, inflation is a thing and prices are gonna just continue to go up. So if you keep it at a price
Hmm.
point, so for example, the median price in Tacoma right now, that might have been considered luxury in 20 years ago or whatever. So if we kept that
Sure.
same frame of mind, we wouldn't necessarily be hitting the mark, I guess. So the luxury market in Tacoma and Gig Harbor, are there are there differences between the two, like based on all those things you talked about, or is it kind of similar?
Yes, I mean, there are differences. I would say, okay, so typically, if we're talking from a buyer's perspective, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
buyers around here who are looking at a luxury home many times are either looking at like waterfront, water view,
Mm,
or some space, maybe some
mm,
acreage. So, yes, that differs because Tacoma offers incredible views, limited
mm-hmm.
amount of waterfront,
Yep.
but typically not a lot of space or acreage. I would
Yeah.
say there are areas that have more space, like West Slope or Narrows, or certain places that haven't been subdivided into city lots, but um, that could, I mean, Gig Harbor is going to be a different story than that.
Mm,
However, I don't want to like pigeonhole it to just those things because there are homes in Tacoma that are, you know, 5,000 square foot, 1900,
mm-hmm.
built in 1900 craftsman homes on a 6,000 square foot lot, but it is like dialed in,
Yeah.
absolutely stunning, gorgeous, original, character, all of that, that I would also consider a luxury home. So,
Right.
yes, like that to me, when I think of Tacoma, is kind of like that style of home, maybe a view. And
Mm-hmm.
in Gig Harbor, I think more either waterfront or acreage or
Mm,
space or
yep.
size of home,
Yep.
something like that.
No, it totally makes sense. Because yeah, just the the con- the context or the land that you're working with or the density that you're working with allows
Hmm.
for different things.
That's right.
I think that's interesting. And then, yeah, the Kitsap market too. I didn't want to forget that, but I'm assuming it's similar. I had some. You mentioned waterfront. I had some data on the waterfront piece. So Northwest MLS
Yeah,
just
let's hear it.
had an article not too long ago about the cities with the most waterfront homes sold in 2023, which I thought was really interesting. So I was going over the waterfront data. We had Olympia, Ocean Shores, Seattle, Gig Harbor. In terms of houses sold with waterfront, those were waterfront homes in 2023, and Gig Harbor was the fourth with 77 at $1.2 million median price. Ocean Shores came in at number two with a $490,000 median price. So if you want waterfront and you want something more affordable, go to Ocean Shores. And Olympia was number one with 109 homes sold with at 898,900 median price. Seattle was number three with 80. So Gig Harbor fell in at 77 at 1.2. Does that say anything? What do you think about when you hear that?
That sounds about right to me. We have, I think that's one of the huge perks of living in Gig Harbor is being surrounded by water. You have so much access to it. Yeah. I think it's
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting the price point, though it is interesting that in Olympia, that's the highest amount sold, but it's a little bit lower median price point, which is interesting. That could mean that there's some more affordable waterfront options in Olympia,
Right.
and then Ocean Shores. Yeah, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Huh? If you want to go, if that's what you're looking for, you might,
Yeah,
holler at us. We might hook you up, and we know some
yeah, we
folks
know
over
some
there.
Ocean Shores agents.
So you're also, what I didn't say at the beginning is you're also a Windermere luxury advisor. What's the advantage of having a listing qualify for like Windermere, the Windermere Premier program, and how does it enhance like the experience for a seller?
Yeah, so the Premier program is really cool because so we are like Windermere Premier is our own thing. And then we also work with Luxury Portfolio, which is a huge brand, and they work with multiple different companies. But in order for us to advertise with Luxury Portfolio, we first have to have our properties qualify as Windermere Premier properties. And then it gets put out to Luxury Portfolio. And from there, it's like worldwide marketing. So it goes out everywhere,
Interesting.
which is very, very cool and a huge perk. And
Yeah.
the Premier Property Program is really cool. There's a baseline for qualifications. Price is one of them. In a lot of our areas, it's like a minimum of $1 million. But there's a lot more that goes into that, mainly condition and character of property.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, cause I think that's an interesting part. Like, and we've talked about this before on this podcast, which is like, just because it's luxury doesn't necessarily, or just because it's the price point, and this probably will, this is a theme in this podcast. The price point does not make it luxury or not, or does not make it premier or not, or it's just more about the home. So on that, what types of key features and amenities are like that you're seeing are most sought after for luxury buyers in this region?
In our region, I would say the number one thing I hear is typically view or waterfront. Then I also hear acreage and size of home. And then also another really big one lately has been like, does it have an ADU or a separate living space? So somewhere for like multi-generational living or guests coming into town or like the
Yeah.
true like mother-in-law setup. So we see a lot of that, but I would say most luxury buyers, they want homes that they're turnkey. They
Yeah.
are meticulously maintained. They are dialed
Yeah.
in, like landscaping's done and there's a system for it, whether it's a gardener or landscaper or there's,
Yeah.
sprinklers already in. The same thing with finishes. So people want to see premium products in, premium materials and products in luxury homes. So that's what buyers are looking for. But
Yeah.
mainly it's that turnkey, and depending on what the lifestyle is, of course, it's like,
Hmm.
luxury doesn't necessarily mean size either. It could be
Right.
somebody looking for a 6,000 square foot house and they want all the bells and whistles and don't want to have to leave their home for it.
Right.
Or
Right.
it could be 1,000 square foot, you know, super modern, like incredible finishes and dialed in.
Yeah. One amenity that it feels like I would want all those things too if I'm paying that kind of money. Like, yeah, if I'm paying, 1.5, 1.2, 1.8, 2,
Mm-hmm.
2.5, like, yeah, I need it to be dialed. Like, I don't want to have to do anything. That's the whole reason why I'm buying the
Mm-hmm.
home. One thing that's really small, but it's actually kind of big for me personally, and maybe I'm just showing like when I walk into a home and I see the washer and dryer inside of the walk-in closet, and or the walk-in closet goes another direction, like you walk down, there's a closet, and then you can turn like, and then there's a washer and dryer. I'm like, that right there is something that I might need in my next house, because that to me is like, I'm weird like that. Like it's all those small things for me. But on a real
Yeah.
more real note, I do like the outdoor living situations in a lot of luxury
Mm-hmm.
homes where you do have, it's almost like another, it's like almost more square footage. It's not, doesn't count as square footage, but it's just out in the back, and it's covered. You might have a heater out
Yep.
there. You might have a nice little living room setup type situation, and maybe the barbecue. I just feel like that right there for me, and I know everyone's different, but that just seems like it'd be something I'd be looking for in our
Yeah.
region in
Yeah.
particular.
No, I love to hear that though, because it is all of those small things that add up.
Hmm.
And I think, another aspect of luxury properties is, yeah, it's obviously, we talked about this, not just the price point, not just the size of it, but it's like, well, what positioning does the backyard face? What kind of sun do you
Mm,
get? What kind of exposure do you have? What is your view on the water? Are you in an it could be waterfront, but it may not have all of those key features where there's like dock access or boat
right,
moorage or all of these things. So it's so much more than just
right,
like, oh, you have to meet this and this criteria, and then it's luxury.
right.
So
Yeah, and you
I can
mentioned
tell you when I know it when I see it. That's for sure.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's what, like, every home is different, and every situation
Mm-hmm.
different, every client is different, and that's what makes it interesting to talk about, because like,
Right.
but there is one thing that you did mention that does really truly matter. I mean, it all of it matters, but when you talk about the materials used in the house,
Mm-hmm.
I think for me that's a big one. Like, I know when the tile is top notch, or I know when the countertop is top notch. You just know it because you just feel it.
Yep.
I walked into one the other day that was like, you just knew the countertops were just like this. I don't even know what type of stone it was, but it just felt luxurious, and it was smooth,
Yeah,
and it was nicely cut, and I just felt, yeah, those materials matter though. So
they do.
I thought that was something that interesting that you said that really
Yep.
struck me.
Yep.
What are some tips and strategies for buyers and sellers navigating the luxury market up here as we close out?
Tips and strategies. Um, Another thing I've really noticed, especially with working with luxury sellers, is that they they typically truly understand the value of hiring a professional, and
Mm,
they really want the professional to just take care of things. They want you to take care of it for them. And so that is actually my favorite kind of client, because they're like, hey, you know what you're doing. Like, we trust you. Obviously, we've seen what you've done before. Either tell us what to do, or we're giving you permission to like take care of it. So I find that is
yeah.
fairly common. And I think, tips and tricks, the best thing you could possibly do is hire a professional, not just like maybe not just a professional, but somebody who fits with your vibe, your style
Hmm.
of communication, your maybe even your aesthetic style, you know, like you see what they're selling and that's something that you
Hmm.
want. Or I think it's just really important to find like the right fit in the professional you hire, and the rest of it will be easier. I promise that.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Um, all right. Well, thank you for all that information, and we're gonna get to the last part of this conversation. It's real quick. It's called hot take.
Ooh,
It's just gonna be some questions that are
okay.
either or questions, and actually, we're gonna change it up this time because I'm going to. This is one half is gonna not be here, so you're gonna
Yeah.
be answering on behalf of him, but he's gonna have to listen to see if you got it right, and then we'll maybe do
All
some
right.
follow up or something. I don't know. We'll make some more content out of this because I'm going
Okay.
this. The
I'm
live
excited for
reaction
this.
stuff. Like those live reactions. I think I'm onto something with those. So like we're probably gonna
Oh,
use
they're so
this, and
good.
then I'm gonna do a yeah. We'll see what he thinks somewhere down the road.
Okay.
All right. What is Ryan's favorite outfit to wear?
Um, his favorite outfit to wear. I'm gonna
What's
say,
his go-to?
well, I mean, I see him a lot in like workout clothes, like
Okay.
shorts and a tee or something.
Yeah.
That's what I mostly see him in. So I'm gonna go with that, like
Okay.
workout attire, maybe something noble.
Yeah, I think of like those the black like the Vans or like the
Yep.
those little black skateboard shoes he has.
Yes.
Or he had his little era with the little high top. Were those Nikes? I don't know what they were, but they're like
Yeah.
little
Oh
high
yeah.
top joints that he
He
had.
still rocks the Nike high
Yeah, so
tops.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
would agree with you on that
All
one.
right.
What's Ryan's favorite movie?
With Top Gun.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be. At least I know he loves Tom Cruise, so I'm gonna go Top Gun. We'll
Okay.
see.
Yep. What's his favorite color?
Um, Blue. I think it's like royal blue.
Okay.
It's a blue
Royal
shade.
blue.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's the Ryan portion of this. Now I'm
Okay.
gonna go to your portion. All right. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
Too hot.
Okay. Pizza or ice cream?
Oh man. Those are like two of some of my favorite foods. Ice cream. Yeah, ice cream. I'm gonna go with
Oh,
it.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we'll stick with ice cream. Last one. Rocky Road or Neapolitan?
Neither.
I, I know Neapolitan is like a controversial ice cream. Like it's like people really either love it or they hate it. Like they can't stand it. What's your favorite flavor?
My favorite is like the most chocolatey that you can possibly find on the menu without nuts.
Yeah.
So that's why the Rocky Road, I can't do the Rocky Road because of the nuts. But it's like, if it's like double fudge chocolate brownie chunk, like that's the one I'm getting.
Yep.
I love those questions. That's fun.
I'm there with you on that one. All right. Well, I'm gonna probably so for those people listening, I'm probably gonna have some content for that other one down the road someday. But thank you for joining us. And if people want to get a hold of you or the Nicely Group, how do they get in touch with you?
They can find us on Instagram or Facebook at the Knicely Group. And that's nicely with a K, Knicely. And you can give us a call or a text, 253-820-8773.
All right, cool. And with that, that was Jess Nicely of the Nicely Group. Thank you for joining us. That was a great conversation on luxury. If you have any questions or you want us to cover anything, hit me in the comments or email me at davidjones@windermere.com. And with that, we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening, and make sure you tap in next time. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.